Welcome to our virtual poster presentation, Researching Historic Newspaper Titles in the Digital Age. I'm Pam McClanahan, Head of Digital Collections at University of Maryland Libraries and co-director of the Historic Maryland Newspapers Project. I'm joined by two of our project staff.
Hi, I'm Alexis Woolford, and I recently graduated from UMD with an MLIS, and I'm a project assistant.
Hi, I'm Bridget Jamison, a current student pursuing an MA in History and an MLIS at UMD, and I'm a student assistant on the project.
I'll start with an introduction to our program and some background on this project. The Historic Maryland Newspapers Project is the Maryland State awardee of the National Digital Newspaper Program, which is a partnership between National Endowment for the Humanities and the Library of Congress to make historic newspapers freely and openly available in the Chronicling America online newspaper database. Along with the digitized newspapers for our state, one of the grant deliverables is providing an essay that is included on the title view in Chronicling America with bibliographic information for the newspaper. You can see a screenshot of the title view here, and the essay appears below the thumbnail image of the newspaper page. These title essays provide a wealth of information to researchers. Since our team has access to the digitized images while we're in production, before these are loaded to Chronicling America, we incorporated our student assistants in the essay research process. I created a research template shown here with categories to fill out, along with instructions on what to look for in the newspapers. For each piece of information, students were instructed to note where they found it in the newspaper or provide a bibliography if using other resources. These research notes will be incredibly helpful as we prepare the final title essays for Chronicling America. Now, Alexis and Bridget are going to share some details on how they did their research and what they encountered in the newspapers, as well as some challenges that came up with this work.
Publication context is a priority for the title essays, so we look for that kind of information in every issue. We trace changes over time in personnel, location, and cost. Collecting information from the masthead on every issue of the Jewish Times of Baltimore from 1919 to 1963 revealed the long tenures of the newspaper's publishers and the many addresses of its Baltimore and Washington offices. The masthead of the Bainbridge Main Sheet, a naval-based paper, included the ranks of its staff and information about how it was funded. In the lower right-hand corner of the slide is an image showing the price of a yearly subscription to the General Staatsbote in the year 1793. £7 and 6 shillings, that long S being a shilling mark.
There is a line in the masthead of the aircraft beacon that says, "Devoted to unite all GL Martin employees into the UAWCIO." It reveals the objective of the paper and gives more insight into who the audience of the paper would be. Also, the masthead shows who the creators were. Above the title, it says Martin, Local 738, UAWCIO. Martin is an aircraft plant company, and UAWCIO, Local 738, is a union and association. The other image on the right side includes the Globe Independence masthead, which tells you who published the paper and the other newspapers that were incorporated into it. We also kept our eye out for recurring features and special sections in the newspapers so that we could highlight some of the uniqueness they had to offer. One recurring feature that I saw during my research was the Year in Review feature that the Globe Independent printed once a year around the holidays. It is a whole page dedicated to reviewing a year of important events. Other recurring features included Bricks and Bouquets and Know Your Officers from the Aircraft Beacon.
The Jewish Times had many recurring features, such as the Sabbath Angel, a section for young readers. It also had an annual special issue for Rosh Hashanah, which in some years ran into the hundreds of pages. Some of our research is conducted outside the newspaper. For context, I researched the history of the Young Men's Hebrew Association and the Young Women's Hebrew Association. I researched the Women's Army Corps and even found an article about a popular cartoon that I had noticed in the Aberdeen Proving Ground Flaming Bomb.
During my research into the Globe Independent, these advertisements for the third and fourth war loan drive kept showing up in the issues. And knowing that the paper mentioned war frequently, I looked outside of the paper for more information. I learned these types of drives were important during both World War I and II because we needed to gain funds to finance them, and they were advertised in the paper.
After checking the dates, I paid attention to how the end of World War II in Europe and Asia was covered. VE Day was much more significant to the Jewish Times than VJ Day because they were concerned with the fate of the Jews in Europe. The opposite is true in the military papers, as it was victory in Asia which represented the true end of the war for US servicemen and women. We did encounter some challenges in our research. We were sometimes missing issues during which certain transitions had happened, such as a new editor or a price increase, leaving us unsure of when those changes actually occurred. We had several newspapers in non-English languages none of the student workers knew, which slowed down the process and left some potentially interesting information behind.
At times, there was lost information due to missing and torn pages, a month's worth of missing issues that limited my research, especially since these were earlier issues of a newspaper.
Thank you for viewing our poster presentation, Researching Historic Newspaper Titles in the Digital Age. Please feel free to reach out to us with any questions and see the historic newspapers on Chronicling America.